Brent, are we set? Set out back? Great. Okay. I'd like to call to order the Committee of the Whole. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Here.
Ms. Pichetti, Ms. Elder,
Here.
Mayor Gallo,
Here.
Mr. Love,
Here.
Ms. McPherson,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Wiggum. We have a quorum.
Next, we have a motion, we have approval of the minutes for the March 3rd, 2026 meeting. I'll make a motion to approve that if there are no edits or adjustments to them. Do we have a second?
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes as well. Before we get to our one topic in the Committee of the Whole, I just wanted to make a note for all the trustees that at the end, there is an executive session on compensation for the Compensation Committee. Mayor Weiss has invited all Board of Trustees member to come in for a few minutes. He'd like to give them a quick update on a few items. So if you could just hang around for that before they get into the meat of their other work in the Compensation Committee today, that would be appreciated. Next, we have potential service adjustments, and we have Raj Gotham and Joel Freelick presenting on the management's thoughts on these potential reductions.
Mayor Kumar, members of the board, those online, good morning. My name is Raj Gotham. I am the Deputy General Manager of Finance and the Board Secretary Treasurer. Here to talk about the service adjustment proposals that I will kickstart and then turn it over to Joel Freilich to walk us through. Before we get into the presentation, just a quick reminder that we have been extremely open and transparent throughout the entire process. Going back to the middle of last year is when we started noticing significant structural gaps, as we've called them. And if you would remember the two presentations for the 2026 budget process and the related public hearings, we did mention that there would have to be service reductions or cuts sometime in the summer of 2026. We're all very conscious about the impact of any of these actions on the community and our customers. And our efforts have been to make sure that we minimize as much of that as possible. So we started making recommendations in 2025. So I just want to start with that process to see what recommendations were made and how it impacted the solution. The idea was that we will do the less painful items first and then continue to evaluate, because none of us want to negatively impact lives. So with that said, it was during the budget development process back in August and September of 2025, which indicated significant long-term structural imbalances. Obviously, we've talked about the increased healthcare costs when we compared them to 2024 actuals. And then we were notified about the significant increases for 2026. We noted that there were continued large transfers from our savings account, and the projected deficit ending balance in 2028 in the general fund, and this is in the same document, the 2026 operating budget document that was approved, where we presented not only the 26 budget, but also the plan for 27 and 28. The 28 ending balance showed a negative 48.2 million. Rounding numbers, if you assume for a quick moment that our ending balance, the 1 month operating reserve that board policy requires, is roughly 30 million, that indicates that to get to that 30 million, we have a $78.2 million issue that we needed to address. So finance began recommendations, as I said, the less painful ones initially. We recommended a reduction in travel, sponsorships, and memberships. That was implemented. We instituted a hiring freeze, eliminated the bus mechanic apprentice program, eliminated vacant positions, made efforts to reduce overtime to the extent that we could. As part of the 2026 budget, we reduced and eliminated the transfer to the rolling stock reserve fund of $5 million each for 26 and 27. 2028, $5 million is currently in process. We increased the scrutiny of non-personnel spending, eliminated customer Wi-Fi, suspended non-bargaining merit increases for 2026. The strategic next steps to get us to stability through the end of 2028, to give us adequate time to look at alternate revenue sources. The next recommendation is to evaluate a potential increase in sales tax to generate additional revenue. That is in process. Review and adjust the capital funding policies, and the proposal is to reduce the required capital transfer requirement from 10% of sales tax to 5%. That is up for board consideration. And propose issuing a $35 million in new debt to mitigate the impact and minimize the impact on the capital program. That is up for board consideration, and we plan on bringing a resolution in April for the debt issuance. Additional steps, we continue to assess personnel for operational efficiencies and potential consolidations. That's an ongoing process. Evaluate and implement a credit card convenience fee in process. And back in December, our recommendation to the management team was to consider a 12% service reduction to save $10 million annually. The management team has been engaged once again to mitigate and minimize the impact on the customer, so we have been looking at several other alternatives to see how we can reduce this 12% service reduction that we were thinking we needed to do back in December. We developed new strategies, changed the operating hiring process from hiring full-time operators to part-time, up to the contract limits. We are suspending the transfer to rolling stock for 2028. That was the $5 million that I alluded to earlier. We renegotiated the paratransit contracts, et cetera, that generated some savings. And as a result of these three and several other minor items, the new recommendation for the operation team was to institute a much smaller service reduction, which will save us $2.5 million on an annual basis. This is roughly 3% reduction compared to the 12% that we were contemplating just a few months ago. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Freilich, and we'll stick around for any questions or comments. Go.
Good morning, Mayor Kumar and members of the board. I'm Joel Freilich, Director of Service Management, here to talk about that 3% proposed service reduction. First, the timeline in which this should happen. It's presented here, the first item being today's meeting to update the board on what our thinking is. This coming Friday, we have to send the legal notice text to the Call and Post and Plain Dealer to advertise the required public hearing. We also advertise the required public hearing on our buses, which is the main way our riders see it, as in social media and various other ways, but the legal notice is a requirement by policy. Those notices will be published April 1st, and we will conduct the required public hearing here in the boardroom on April 13th. It's now the modern age, so we will have lots of ways to participate in that public hearing. You can come in person, but you don't have to come in person. You'll be able to call in, as we do during public comment period of board meetings. You'll be able to contact us electronically and through social media, write to us, call us. All comments, no matter how they are received, as long as they come in during the public comment period, they all get the same analysis and treatment. Although our policy requires just one public hearing, we nevertheless are going to do 3 of them, 13th, 15th, and 16th of April, and we'll put them at different times of day, one evening, one early morning, and one midday. Again, people can actually play that recording at some other time. It'll on our website, so they don't actually have to be available at any of those times. But nevertheless, we will do the 3. Comment period closes April 27th. Now, the moment the comments start to flow in, we start to analyze them as they come in. And we allow ourselves till April 29th to complete that analysis and formulate a revised recommendation after considering those comments. Once we make that recommendation to the general manager, who is the arbiter of the final decision. We will be updating the board again in committee on May 5th to hear any response from the board members. We finalize that decision on May 7th and begin the extensive preparations it takes to put the service specifics into place and, most importantly, to communicate to our customers on exactly what is changing, which may not be precisely what was advertised before because of the public comments. So I'll tell you briefly what is in what we'll put out to public hearing. We have 2 route discontinuations in which a route or route number or route letter just won't appear on the map anymore if this goes ahead. The first of those is the Beeline Trolley. Discontinuation of this route saves about 6,700 annual vehicle hours. Vehicle hours really drive our costs because every vehicle has an operator, and operator is the major labor cost. This line is put up there as in the proposal because ridership is relatively low, with fourth quarter 2025 ridership being just 3.3 boardings or rides per each one-way bus trip. But geography is extremely important in how we make decisions. It's not just the numbers. It's the question of, if this route were not running or running less frequently, are there other alternatives nearby? And how nearby are those alternatives? So it's very geographically based. In this particular case, if today the Beeline Trolley were not running, we look at those 3.3 rides per one-way bus trip would have to do something different, but absolutely none of them would have to walk more than a half mile to an alternate service. And that's because the downtown is full of major routes, most of which run as frequently as the trolley. This map in red dashes shows the path of the Beeline Trolley, and all the gray lines are other bus routes running through downtown, and you see we have bus routes on Euclid and on Superior and St. Clair and Lakeside, parts of Lakeside, parts of West 9th, parts of West 6th, and so you can see that in most cases there is another route at the very same, on that same block or a short distance away. The next route discontinuation is just a branch. It's the B branch of the 19 route. This discontinuation of a lightly used branch will enable all the miles road trips labeled 19 to serve Tri-C East with consistent 30-minute service. Because today, that consistent 30-minute service is interrupted with some hourly intervals because some trips don't go to Tri-C and they serve this lightly used branch. The ridership on the branch stops totals up to 2.6 rides per one-way bus trip. Put in another way, 11 times a day somebody would have to walk more than 1/2 mile to an alternate route. This would occur 11 times a day. The map in blue shows you the basic Route 19 route, and in the bottom center of the graphic, you see the gray dots indicating a short distance down Richmond Road to the south, and then the full length of a dead-end street on an industrial area called Fargo. So most trips go up to Tri-C at the top center. These exception trips go to Fargo, and after, if this change is made, all trips will go to Tri-C. Next, we turn to frequency reductions. 2 are proposed on weekdays and 2 on weekends. The weekday routes affected are the number 78, Puritas, which would change from every 15 to 30 minutes, on weekdays, daytime. It would return to the same service frequency that was instituted at NextGen in 2021 and provided through all of 22 and 23 until an improvement was made in 24. We would revert to that earlier 30-minute frequency, and that reduction would save about almost 14,000 annual vehicle hours. The other weekday route affected is the number 86 Rocky River Bagley Road. It would return again in the same way to the same frequency that was part of NextGen, this time from 30 to 60 minutes, and that reduction would save almost 7,000 annual vehicle hours. I'll show you what those routes look like. The first one, the Route 78, that north-south line that you see toward the right side of the screen is West 117th Street in Cleveland and along the Lakewood border at the top. And it continues further south, serving Puritas Avenue, dipping into the Puritas Rapid Station, and ending at the Brook Park Rapid Station. The other route I described would return to hourly frequency with 60 minutes signifying hourly, the gray signifying 60 minutes service. And that route at the top of your map is West Park Station. It continues west on Lorraine, south on Rocky River Drive, makes a dip into the Brook Park Rapid Station. You can see a little detour there halfway down, and then it continues out Route 237. It serves Brook Park, Berea, Middleburg Heights, and ends up at the Tri-C Western Campus. Again, it would still operate, but it would return to that 60-minute frequency. Now we turn to the weekend. There are 2 frequency reductions proposed for weekends, and likewise, they return to the frequency that we provided from the inception of NextGen in 2021 until the improvement was made in 2024. So I've expressed that here as returns to the surface frequency provided in 2023. The number 3 would return on weekends only from every 15 to every 30. That's the Superior route. And the number 10, the Cleveland portion had an upgrade of weekend frequency to 15. It'll return to 30. Respectively, these reductions saved about 2,700 and about 6,400 annual vehicle hours. The locations, the Route 3 is shown here with Public Square area at the western end, left side of the graphic, and Windermere Station at the right side. And the Route 10 is shown here. At the bottom is the intersection of Warner and Turney and Broadway at what we call the Turney-Ella Loop. It goes up East 93rd and Wood Hill and East 105th, and then also serves portions of St. Clair and continues up to Lake Shore and East 185th on the Cleveland Euclid line. That's the portion where the frequency was improved and would return. Finally, we have one element of our service here that is an operating hours reduction. The waterfront line, you'll recall, was operating every Saturday and every Sunday until construction at Tower City required a temporary suspension of that service and required us to reduce it to special events only. But that was due to construction, which does not require a public hearing or public comment. However, should we decide, as proposed now, not to restore it after construction at Tower City is complete, that requires public involvement. Okay? So formally speaking, that's the decision. We are proposing not restoring the waterfront line service for the non-event days, just keeping it as it is temporarily now and making that permanent, so-called permanent. And so we're recommending that because of very low ridership right now. In fact, average ridership on non-event days while we were doing this every Saturday and every Sunday service was less than 1 ride per one-way train trip. That's lower than the productivities you've seen on those buses. Doesn't mean the waterfront line won't ever run. The waterfront line is a tool, a development tool. I think Cleveland leaders have long believed that eventually the lakefront would be developed. Now, that seems to be a little bit more realistic all the time. And there's a concrete proposal out there that's being reviewed. The waterfront line makes that more likely to occur, and the waterfront line will be there to serve it when it happens. But there's no need for us to spend money every day right now while that area is still largely not occupied and ridership is very low. Last item. This one does not save money, but it makes customers happy. It's an alignment, a realignment of the southern portion of the number 77 Brecksville Road route. It's going to serve more jobs, and it came to us as a customer request, and it has gained the support of Brecksville's political leadership. If we make this change, which I'll show you in a moment, 7 daily passengers will need to walk farther to transit, and that triggers our public hearing requirements, so we are going to get their comments on it. But 30 to 35 current daily passengers will have a shorter walk to transit if we implement this, and we also suspect that additional riders will start to use transit because of the additional area served. The map on the left side of your screen is the current alignment. The route from the top comes down from Cleveland, serving also other places along the way. It goes south on Brecksville Road only to the Snowville Road represented on the bottom. That's as far south as it goes. Just before that bus turns right, quite a number of people ask to get off the bus. So in public transit, when the driver is about to turn right and a bunch of people get off, it's a hint that they didn't want the bus to turn. They wanted the bus to keep going. And they did, and they've asked for that. The bus turns right and crosses over I-77 and serves an area that we thought might be productive, but it turned out not to be. V over there represents the Valor Acres development, which is being built as we speak, and some of it's occupied. Their service gets a little better with our proposal, but the main dramatic improvement to our proposal is the bus will be able to go further south and serve all of Brecksville, all the way to the county line shown in dashed lines. And then at the next opportunity, the bus will use a set of streets to reverse course and come back up. So this is why we've included this in our proposal. It's cost neutral. No increase, no decrease in cost, makes riders happy. Service reduction summary is shown here. Everything is listed with the annual vehicle hours reductions attributed to each. The total annual vehicle hours reduction is 39,000, and that represents, as Raj explained, a 3% reduction. It saves $2.5 million annually, and that is why we are going to take that through the public comment process. I'm sure Mr. Gautam and I will be happy to address the questions.
Joel, one of the earlier slides in both of those routes, there was a metric in there. It was like 2.5 on the last one. I was just trying to understand what that metric actually was.
Okay,
Back in one of the early slides.
back me up and tell me where I'm going here. I'm sorry.
For a while.
Okay. Is it in the graphic?
No, it was in the text.
Trolley, go to the trolley. Okay, here we go. I'll go to the trolley. This one?
Ridership is 3.3 per one-way bus trip.
Yes.
What is
okay,
that?
so that means when the driver, if he starts his trip from the beginning of the bus trip to the end of the bus trip where he turns around, if the moment he opens the door at the beginning and starts counting the number of people who get into the bus, by the time he's got to the other end, 3 or 4 people on average will have boarded while he made that trip. Yes, then on the way back, 3 or 4 more people will have boarded on average. Again, that could be 0 to 5, but the average is 3.4. So it's a good metric of utilization when you compare to something else. So, for example, on the waterfront line, when you leave Tower City and start counting the people who use the route, and and you divide that by the number of trips you made, you're at less than one on a Saturday and Sunday with non-event. Of course, the football game, that's totally different. That's why our proposal is just serve the major events.
I have a question. Trustee Elder, thank you for all this information. I think this is something that I in particular have been looking for as a writer, and just I think all of us are just interested to know where, what does our service look like in the upcoming 6-7 months or so. I think one request that I will make is if we can have kind of like a one-pager, high-level, each route that's going to be cut, if it falls in the category of complete reduction in frequency, or operation hours, having the not only the vehicle hours, which I think you went through on each of the slides for each of the routes, but I want to see what that translates into money. I think we're doing this because of funding, and it wasn't until maybe, the second to last slide that we said it saves overall $2.5 million. But I would like to see what each route potentially saves us when we think about the rationale as to why, one of many factors that goes into determining why we are cutting that particular route.
We can prepare that for you and make it available to the board.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm not sure that you're able to give me this answer now. Maybe you are. But as we think about the cuts to these routes, what I'm also particularly interested is the rationale for why the route even existed in the first place, right? Whether that's, there was high traffic maybe at the time that we came up with the route, so that's why we, decided to put it there, or, whether there were customers in those areas that, had voiced a particular need, or, if there was a business that popped up and we wanted to make for sure that they were being served. So to the extent that we have that information, I would like to know what the rationale was for each of the routes that we've implemented, from the B line to the, to the 77. And that's all I have right now.
We can do that for you, for sure.
Thank you for this, and I do want to note and appreciate, I think Raj had shared that at one point we were considering 12% cuts and now 3% cuts, so I do want to appreciate the work of the staff and general manager to get us to this point. Along with Trustee Elder's questions, I would love to know, in particular, the demographics of those who are served by these routes. In particular, are these low to moderate income tracts, and who is using these services, and who will we be impacting? And so as we continue down this route, that's one point of information I would like to know.
We can provide that. Sure. I can repeat that the target date for the implementation is Sunday, August 16th.
This kind of is similar to Trustee Elder's question, but it sounded like some of these were rollbacks from the changes of next gen. Is that coincidental, or was that looked at specifically, and or are these low productivity routes, or is it a combination of all of this and we just looked at everything and they happen to be next gen changes that we're rolling back? And if some of these are not low productivity routes, what was the rationale for looking at those instead of some lower productivity routes?
Okay. First of all, the fundamental thing you look at is where are you right now? So that's fundamental. Second thing is there's one I can think of at the moment that is a rollback of the 2021 next gen implementation. That rollback that I can think of is the 19B branch. because what we proposed for Next Gen was that all those trips would go to Tri-C East. And in the public involvement around that, advocates for the service on Fargo Industrial Road advocated that street shouldn't be empty of transit. So as a compromise, we selected certain trips and said they won't go to Tri-C as planned, and they'll go there. And that is something we're proposing to reverse right now. When I talked about reversals or returns, generally they were not reversals of Next Gen. They were reversals of an enhancement to Next Gen that we put in 2024, and they are reverting to the Next Gen series. I don't have them all in my head, but I'll stop there. If I made a mistake, I'll catch up with a memo.
Thanks.
Thank you for the overview. I think this is more a messaging question, but ultimately, are we communicating in the public comment period, public hearing period coming up, that the current austerity measures are going to allow us to maintain a 3% reduction through 2028? Or are we saying this is the initial service reduction we're anticipating? Maybe there's more to anticipate. I just want to understand, Are we talking about a scenario where we've made cost containment measures that allow us to carry through the next year and a half, 2 years? Or we...
I would love to make a promise that there would never be further reductions in the next year or two, but no one's promised me that I'll be able to keep that promise. So I don't know where that's going to go. This is the plan for August, what we'd like to do, and you always have to watch what's going to happen with expenses and revenues, and the finance people will tell me what I can run.
I anticipate that being a refrain question.
But thank you for your question.
I have another question. I want to say, and I wrote this in my notes, but where did I write it? You had indicated a date, I think in May, where we would have finalized what the service, plan will be, and then that'll kind of be the implementation preparation process. I'm kind of interested in what does that preparation process look like? Because I think if we want to go back to that slide of the list of dates, it's roughly May, June, July, August, a 3-month time frame of preparation.
Correct.
What does that kind of involve?
So there's a pick process in which you've finalized every trip and what every operator is going to do, and you create a whole process for that, and then the operators have a chance every quarter to pick what work they're going to do the next quarter. Mm-hmm. So that's why it takes quite a while to get from the general manager's final decision, which is listed there, I think, on May 7th,
Yes.
Until we finally get to it's running on August 16th. But also, that works in the customer's favor.
Right, as for
because
planning
we
purposes.
really like to take the time to make sure as many as people as possible get the message about exactly how to travel on that day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it works. We have an internal process. The bad news is it takes a long time, but the good news is that's good news for the customer because we have time to communicate.
Understood. And then just for clarification, I think I know the answer to this, but just so the public understands as well, the operators that could, that will be impacted by what's happening with the service, they will still have an opportunity to work in other areas within the organization, correct?
Let me address that.
Okay.
Something one needs to know is that fixed route bus operators, whether they combining Hayden and Triscuit garages, historically, they exit that job at a rate of approximately 12 per month or approximately 144 per year. That's just the natural process. Some get promoted, some move on to another opportunity, some retire, some exit because they're not a good fit. But when you add all that up, they're exiting at a constant rate. So if you want to maintain equal service, you have to bring in new people at a very high rate. Since we're anticipating a 3% service cut, we are reducing how we bring people in. So for a 3% service cut, there would not need to be a layoff of operators to do that. So we wouldn't have to wonder where will we reassign them, because that we can manage that in advance.
Right.
And let me piggyback that. Thank you, Joel. I think that's accurate. To get to the core of, I think, the question, these are service-related reductions that we are proposing. They are not workforce-related proposed reductions for the operators that would be operating these routes.
Right.
So to support Joel's explanation, excuse me, he gave the technical explanation of how it works with attrition, which is accurate. But to speak in layman's terms, we will not be laying off any operators that are on the impacted routes that you have before you. They'll be reassigned.
Thank you. And that both of you clarified that. I just wanted to make for sure that the public had that understanding as well, because I also think that while our customers are concerned with the routes themselves, I think there's also a concern even from internal to external about what's happening with the employees. So I appreciate your response. Thank you.
If I might, a question probably for Raj. I just want to make sure I understand a little bit of the math, and so you may not be able to have an answer right now, but
I'll try.
I'll try to explain it. I'm trying to understand the calculation of the savings that comes from these changes in service. And I'm assuming, but I could be wrong, that that there's a calculation of what the savings is per hour, so that when you then apply that savings, that's how you come up with your, or savings per hour, that's how you come up with your overall savings.
Joel, did you want to?
Yes, and you're absolutely right. Savings per vehicle hour, and of course it's at the margin, so it's not the same thing as your average cost of the entire agency. So so we do it what we'll really save. Okay, for example, if one cut 50% of service, one would not reduce expenses by 50% because transit agencies have some fixed costs that don't go away when you adjust service. But we do know what does go away, so we take that into account. So that's how we do the cost savings per vehicle hour. So we do know that it really will save about $2.5 million.
Those are some of the details I also want on that one pager.
Sure.
Yes. So is there, I'm trying to, operating and capital, I mean, when you come up with that cost per vehicle hour, is that, I guess I want to just clarify, Joel, is that in fact, okay, and system-wide, not just the routes that are being impacted?
It's operating, that's how much you save in the operating cost. We did not assume that we'll save capital dollars other than spare parts when because buses wear out spare parts when they drive. And so there's some spare parts calculated, there's some mechanic hours, because every X miles you must do this service on your bus. So that's how it's done.
If Mayor Weiss, if I may, Doc and Raj, if you could give a brief explanation of a fully allocated cost per vehicle mile and what goes into that number, so that we can give a general sense of what goes into the cost per vehicle mile.
Mayor Kumar, members of the committee, members of the board, I'm Fonseca, the Chief Operating Officer here at the Greater Cleveland RTA. And Mayor Weiss, to answer your question, I'll give it to you in the kind of broadest categories. When we take those hours, just call it 40,000 hours, you would broadly multiply it by an hourly rate. There is an operator managing that at a price. It's their wages plus their benefits. That's the bulk of it. The secondary process is that we will have 3% less fuel. And so we have a model that says that we'll buy 3% less natural gas. We have mechanic hours that goes to there. We have inventory hours. So we would spend some number. It may not be 3%. It may be 1.7% less on average stuff that we buy in a year, which might be oil, it might be brake parts and items. The combination of all of those come up to $2.5 million.
Thank you.
If, a comment? Or are you?
Quick thing, so you looked at these reductions, $2.5 million annually, given the implementation timeframe this year, these go forward, we're really looking in 2026 of around 930,000 rounded. So not the whole 2.5 million this year.
Go ahead.
Just clarifying question. Then what is the 2.5 million savings? What over
Full year,
full year? Okay.
I'm assuming. It's quite-
Any other questions?
Just a quick comment, and I'll be fast. I just wanted to just kind of bookend the conversation, and I appreciate the questions. We've talked extensively on the internal staff side to be able to think through this. So the request for the breakdown, we have that information. We didn't want to provide that and belabor the conversation, but we understand it's important so that there's a translation between the cost and the hours. The hours is where we live, the cost is where you live, right? For translation purposes, and we can provide a demographic of each location. We've also studied what impact by area. So we've done a lot of that analysis. That's an automatic that goes into any service adjustments, that come before the board and the public. I just want to also make sure that folks understand, and we've talked about it, it's a very difficult thing to put service out and no one's riding. And when I say that, we have certain areas within the system that are historical for whatever reason. And we also have shifts in people's travel patterns. And so us trying to keep kind of that balance to make sure that we have individuals in the seat, right? And also making sure that folks that could ride, right, may ride. We usually have folks that say, but I could ride this route if it were available. Well, there's a difference if you do ride it versus if you could. So we've got to live in a little bit of both of those worlds. This is our best opportunity, we feel, to be able to demonstrate a savings. We have told you time and time again in the public that we are in fiscal constraint territory, and this is something that we feel we need to do. But this is also a responsible mechanism to kind of whittling down the service for areas that we feel do not have a return on investment for ridership. For a plethora of reasons, and we'll go ahead and detail that for you in that document as well. There was opportunity, excuse me, as was mentioned, for the 10%, if I'm not mistaken, through the last slide, that would impact manpower. So that's a very big difference too. We're trying our best to not impact employees, especially operational employees that we know are the bread and butter, as well as the administrative, but the bread and butter of operating our service. We do want to make sure that we can preserve those as much as possible. And this is a good striking of the balance to be able to make that happen, as well as trim where we know the criticism is, well, that bus is empty. So we wanted to make sure to bring that to you. And this is the planned service adjustment for 2026. So we will continue to monitor and make sure that we move forward in a more fiscally advantageous manner. That's always our goal, but there are no additional service cuts planned for 2026.
Anything else? Okay, any other questions? Great. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second, Elder.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. I guess up next we have the GCR Board of Trustees annual meeting. Is that you or me? I can call it to order if you want, and then turn it to you. Please. Okay. I'd like to call that to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Here.
Ms. Pachetti, Ms. Elder,
Here.
Mayor Gallo,
Here.
Mr. Love,
Here?
Ms. McPherson,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Wiggum.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Certification, please.
Mr. President, I advise that notice of this meeting has been posted more than 24 hours in advance and that all usual notification has been given to the media and other interested persons. All requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and rules and bylaws of this board regarding notice of meeting have been complied with.
Thank you so much. I'll turn number 4 over to Chair Love.
Thank you, President Kumar. Good morning. This is an opportunity for the election of officers at the 2026 March 24th annual meeting. The nominating committee received 2 submissions for the office of president and the office of vice president. For the office of president, we received a nomination from current board president, Mayor Kumar. If there's an opportunity here on the floor to receive any additional nominations at this time, please state your nomination. Do I have any floor nominations at this time? Seeing none, I would like to give the opportunity to Board President Kumar to just maybe share any remarks regarding your nomination for the office of president.
Sure. As I said in my letter, we've been working well with General Manager Terry and Vice President Pachetti. Given the financial times and my background in operations as a CPA, I'd like to make sure that we bring to the board all the financial information necessary for us to make informed decisions. I know I was talking with Mr. Sleesman before the meeting today, and as you approved the March 3rd minutes, you know, both of us had expressed an interest as we're looking at all these different changes in the finances to have management put together and review a comprehensive financial projection and specific debt numbers to provide a big picture overview for the trustees of this. And I just think my background is well suited for that. So I wanted sort of to continue out this 3rd year and get that information back to the trustees.
Thank you, President Kumar. At this time, I'd like to make a motion for a roll call vote for the nomination of President Kumar, current President Kumar, as board president. Do I have a second?
Second, McPherson.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Aye.
Ms. Elder,
Aye.
Mayor Gallo,
Aye.
Mr. Love,
Aye.
Ms. McPherson,
Aye.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Aye.
Ms. Wiggum.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Congratulations. I'd like to now bring forward the nomination for the office of Vice President. We received 1 nomination from current Vice President Gar Pachetti. Are there any additional nominations for Vice President from the floor at this time? Seeing none, and noting Trustee Pachetti's absence, I was given a nomination letter, a copy of the nomination letter you all received. Trustee Pachetti would ask that I read those remarks at this time, so please bear with me as I try to embody and channel her energy. Dear Trustee Love and members of the board, please accept this letter as my expression of interest in continuing to serve as Vice President in the Board of Trustees of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority in the coming year. This is a pivotal time for GCRTA in Greater Cleveland Region, and I take the responsibility very seriously. It has been a privilege to serve on the GCRTA Board of Trustees, and I look forward to fulfilling my term through February 2028. While I did not anticipate a leadership role, the Vice President vacancy last fall presented an opportunity to help sustain the positive momentum from our fall communications retreat and to build on the strong leadership of Trustee Kumar and Welch. By collaborating closely with Mayor Kumar and GCRTA leadership, I believe we have taken a small but meaningful step to strengthen communication between the board and agency leadership on key issues and further leverage board enterprise and expertise. I'm eager to continue advancing the alignment between the board and management and support an engaged and well-informed board. As a Cuyahoga County resident, frequent transit rider, and mother of 3 young children, I'm acutely aware that decisions in the boardroom affect current and future generations. Serving as chair of the Organizational Services and Performance Monitoring Committee and on the Compensation and Audit Committees, I hope to help ensure consistency across vision, goals, progress, and execution. Lastly, my 20 years of experience in the nonprofit and philanthropic sectors focused on jobs, transportation, economic and regional development, and community engagement give me a real-world perspective which complements formal training in communication, economics, and public administration. Thank you for your consideration. It is an honor to serve alongside you, and I hope to contribute in whatever capacity is most helpful. Sincerely, Emily Gar-Pachetti. So, hopefully that gives you all context. At this time, I'd like to motion for a roll call vote for the nomination of Vice President. Can I get a roll call, please? Oh, could I get a second?
Second, Gallo.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mayor Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson, Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We'll congratulate Emily Gar-Pachetti. At this time, I believe we are adjourning the annual meeting. I would like to motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second, Wiggum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you all, and congratulations again to President Kumar and Vice President Gar-Pachetti.
We'll have public comment in a moment in the next meeting. Yeah. Yep. No, we've got it. We'll have public comment in a moment. I'd like to call to order the GCRTA Board of Trustees meeting. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Here.
Ms. Elder,
Here.
Mayor Gallo,
Here.
Mr. Love,
Here.
Ms. McPherson, Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Wiggum.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Item 3, certification regarding notice of meeting.
Mr. President, I advise that notice of this meeting has been posted more than 24 hours in advance and that all usual notification has been given to the media and other interested persons. All requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and rules and bylaws of this board regarding notice of meeting have been complied with.
Thank you very much. Item number 4, approval of the February 17th, 2026 minutes. Do I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved, Mayor Weiss.
Second, McPherson.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motions are, minutes are approved. Next, we have public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. Do we have anyone here today that would like to comment? If so, if you could come up to the microphone. Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Hinkle, and I stated before, I'm a longtime RTA commuter and a longtime resident. I just want to follow up from Mrs. Terry about having a representative use public transportation, how very important it is to our community, though. If they can just write just for 2 weeks, interact with some of the fellow writers to see how important it is, especially the areas that face a lot of safety and a lot of economic challenges, and have them come to these meetings and interact with some of the writers here to see for themselves and take questions and answers. Then we can have a better ridership. This is what I want to say. Thank you very much for your time and listening.
Thank you so much for your comment. Is there anyone else in person that would like to make a comment? If so, sir, please come up to the podium.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
just what I just heard today, I was just wondering about, nothing was talked about the bus 55, okay? I see something happened with the 55. They're not big no more. I see the buses are all different. They look kind of new. So something happened there. I don't know. It should have something to do with this money thing, I imagine. But that's just, neither here nor there. I'm just obvious that something's going on. All right, second thing is, I was just looking for a couple of bus stops. I'd love to get a bus stop on the 78 near the airport. There used to be one, and then they took it out of here. I don't know what the date, what reason, but I could use it. Okay, I could use it because I want to get to that restaurant just a little farther. They moved the restaurant up the road. I don't know anything about going about it, but you guys can figure all that out. I probably got.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in person that would like to make a comment? Any item, agenda or non-agenda items? Can you go up to the microphone, please, sir, so everyone can hear?
There's a situation that happened on the on the bus 2024, and I was accused of something, but I wasn't the person they named to be accused of the accused party, and I felt it was a violation. They used excessive force. I got injured, and I tried to go to claims to get the situation resolved, and they used my statement as a narrative to what was going on with the bus situation. And I got, I went down there to claims department to try to get this thing resolved in a fashion that could pay for my bills, and they declined my paperwork. And then I called one of you guys, but I never got an answer because y'all was the one that determined the situation that I was at fault, but I wasn't at fault. And I got paperwork in my backpack to say that what was in violation was the police officer in violation, not I. They used excessive force for no reason. And they was pointing a gun at me for no reason. When I was trying to ask questions, they came out with the guns already blazing, asking me questions. I'm trying to find out what's going on. So I got accused of being something I got accused of something, but the narrative got used to excuse what they did to me. So I tried to email one of these guys, one of you people that they did the investigation to find out what was the investigation about, but nobody spoke to me. So, everybody's supposed to be a part of the law, but when I got this paperwork that says that they was in violation of what they did, but y'all agreed to it that they didn't do no violations. I'm trying to get down the stairs so I can speak to one of you guys to go look the paperwork that I did. I'm trying to be a PI in my own time. And then I investigated the situation, and I saw that they was in violation. I wasn't.
Well,
so the purpose was, what they did was handcuffed me, messed up my wrist, and I got injured because they thought I was the person that was a perpetrator, and I wasn't.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments, Doc.
You talk to me? Well, all right.
So we appreciate it. You're going to follow the gentleman right out, and he'll be able to handle it for you. I appreciate it. You're talking to the Deputy of Operations right there.
Great. Yes, ma'am, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I heard that you guys are planning to do budget cuts, and I'm not sure if you guys done it before, but I remember the last major thing that was done was in 2020, specifically around my area, when the 81 got turned into the 18 and the 25 was brought back to Madison on the Cleveland side. I mean, it was a bit of readjusting. However, I think that it seems like you guys tend to cut routes on the east side. I don't personally live on the east side. However, when I go into the east side, I notice the buses are very inconvenient. They don't go into neighborhoods. And when I look up at throughout the years that I've looked up, when I'm on the bus, I see so many routes that get cut are from the east side. And I think that's a racial bias because the east side is predominantly black. And I think it's wrong to be cutting the routes. When route changes happen on the west side, we don't get our routes cut. We just get them substituted, like the 81. The 81 routes got split between the 18 and the 25. So you didn't really lose a way to get to where you would go. But the people on the east side, they just completely lose their routes. They lose how to get around, and that affects so much of people's lives because people rely on the public transportations to get to work, to get to school, and I think that's wrong, and I don't think their routes should be cut. I think something similar should be done with the 81. You should split them up. Routes should go through neighborhoods. It should be convenient for even when I'm looking to get a job and it's on the east side, I notice I have to get off at a major road and walk 33 minutes to get to the actual place. On the west side, almost every major job you have, you will probably walk 12 minutes at most to get to the job. You're not walking more than 25 minutes after you get off the bus. And that is a consistent trend I see on the east side. I just feel like there's no proper care for the east side the way it is for the west side. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else in person that would like to make a comment? Raj, thank you for taking the mic over.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a complaint. I have two, matter of fact. On March the 13th, I was taken to Cleveland Clinic on McCracklin Road, address 2300. My bus, the first bus, dropped me off there at the main entrance to go in. And I went in and did what I had to do and do my visit. But when I came back for my bus to pick me up, no bus never showed, no bus never came. So I called a door, I was number 78 or 79 for dispatch, but I hold on until they came. So therefore, when she came, I asked her, where was my bus at? She said, ma'am, your bus been there to pick you up already. I said, no, they haven't. She said, yes, they have. I said, where did they go pick me up at? She said, at the emergency entrance. I'm not at the emergency entrance, so therefore you did come and pick me up. Okay, due to the fact, if the bus driver went in there, I wasn't there. He came back, I'm assuming, and said a no-show. Well, where's the courtesy call that you used to get saying that, Miss Morgan, where are you at? Your bus is here waiting on you. I would have told her they did not drop me off at the emergency room. They dropped me off right here at the place that I'm sitting on, waiting on. So she said, well, I have to see, could I get another bus to come out and pick you up? I said, well, it's not none of my fault. The fault is on you. So why would I have to wait so long to get another bus to come pick me up? She said, well, we'll get a bus for you. Okay, the bus came. He rolled past me twice. He said he went in the emergency room and asked where was the main building at. And she told him right around the corner. So he came and picked me up. I think that it needs to be the dispatchers and the scheduling need to have a little bit more training due to the fact you have a lot of new schedulers. You have a lot of new bus drivers. I don't think they'd have had enough training to do what they're supposed to do. If you call and schedule a trip, they're supposed to be able to tell you where you be picked up at and where you can be dropped off at. But if they can't tell you, how do you know? You're not the scheduler. You don't know. If you tell me, well, I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't be picked up there. You have to be picked up at such and such gate or such and such entrance. Okay, then fine. Well, I would know that. But by me not knowing that and you not telling me that, but when I got dropped off, I got dropped off at the same place. So I think now that all of the schedulers and the dispatchers need to have a little bit more training. A lot of the old ones have that left, that they retired. You got a lot of new ones coming in, and quite naturally, some of them is not doing their job or not knowing what they're supposed to do on their job. Okay, say for instance on Sunday, I went to church. I got dropped off at church. There's 3 security guards there at the church. They have paratransit come there every Sunday, dropping off and picking up people. So I say, well, where's my bus? My bus never came. My bus been there to pick me up. Security said no. Haven't no bus been here to pick you up?
Ma'am, thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate that. And Nick, I don't know if you're able to step out. Nick Davidson is head of our...
I would appreciate it very much, Nick, because I didn't want to call in this information or this complaint because I have done it several times. No one never returned my call. I appreciate you very much, Nick. And we can step out. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. One more. Okay. Yes.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I just want to say thank you to everyone here. I appreciate you. I thank you for your service. I think you're doing a wonderful job, and I think the ones that are not here behind the scenes are doing a wonderful job. 2 weeks ago, Mr. Arthur came to pick me up. I thought Mr. Arthur was the president. Mr. Arthur came. He had on his RTA suit jacket, looking like he was a conductor on a train. He was the most courteous. I mean, I've been on plenty of RTA paratransit buses, and the care that they give you is outstanding. Mr. Arthur, his whole demeanor was over and beyond. If I could have rode all day with him, and his conversation was just wonderful. It was a blessing. I just thank each one of you again. I appreciate you. And as I always say, stay kind. God bless each and every one of you, whether you're here or not. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and happy Lenten season. God bless you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Do we have anyone else in person? If not, Brent, do we have anyone on the phone?
We have one caller. Extension 0387. Please go ahead.
This is Derek Stewart. I would like to know how much RTA is spent in fuel for each of the years that I'm mentioning, 21, 22, 23, 24, and if you have an assessment for the first quarter of 2025. I also would like to know from Raj, can you tell me how your municipal bonds that are contributing to your business have performed each of those years? I also would like to know that in the spirit, I'm assuming the spirit of work, school, and hospital pursuit for your poorly studied Next Gen project, how is it that you will not run a bus up to Pinecrest Shopping Center, which is less than a half mile from Tri-C, which has 61 to 68 businesses in it at all, coming up Harvard, but you'll run a bus every 15 minutes up Harvard to Tri-C? How is it that you came to that conclusion that that's not important? In addition to that, I would like to know, with the knowledge that, and Flonse Cavers knows this because somehow he got connected to the people that run Shaker Square now. The city of Cleveland gave Shaker Square $12 million to rehab and improve business there, but you will not run the 48A bus back through there. How is it that you came to a conclusion that that is not a good idea to run the 48A bus through there and the suggested 15A bus through there? These are simple questions that could have been addressed in a clear, concise way that have never been addressed in a clear and concise way. In addition to that, there's a list of things that are on the web forum that I sent you. I would like you to read them out in the public forum today, taking in consideration that there are people that listen to this public forum and watch this public forum that are not going to go back after the public forum and see when it pops up or if it pops up at all. That's what public forums are for. So I listened to Joel Freilich today say all public comments on April 13th will be given the same analysis. I would like you today to give a detailed assessment of what qualifies as an analysis for you so that people will know that the analysis is not just, okay, we heard you, that's our analysis, we're going on to the next thing. Whatever it is, that is something that should be put in the conversation today. You should also put in the conversation today, how is it that you've not at all shown any consideration for the population of people that will ride that number 50 bus coming up through the Mount Pleasant neighborhoods up west of 131st and Miles? How come you show no consideration for them wanting to get to Marymount in one bus and instead making them have to transfer to get over to Marymount? That's something that should be put in the public comments today, too, as a response to my public comments to you. Now, I've listened to everybody that has something to say today from the public comments, and some of this stuff is stuff that I've heard many times before. People call, people make emails, they get no response. They have to come all the way down here just to get somebody to listen and respond to something that they could have responded to if you people would just respond to your emails and the phone calls that are put out to you. Please read the web form in the public comments today. In this public forum.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Stewart. Your time is up. Our general manager, I know, has taken notes on your comments, and we're going to move on. Any other callers?
That was the only caller.
Great. Do we have any comments on the web?
Yes, there are a few. The first is Bernie Okar of Medina, who writes, "Do not cut service." Next is Isaac Shimsky Augusto, who was happy to see that the branding will be changed on buses so it no longer covers the windows. Adam Rossi, Cleveland Heights, writes that he's concerned about the budget shortfall and is against cutting service. He suggests a few strategies to cut costs in the short term. The final one was from Eric Stewart, who submitted a host of questions about reductions in service, whether there will be reductions in service. He asked why the phone service was reduced for callers during the board meeting, what's the cost of maintaining service in the past and the cost of today. Asked again about budgets and the cost of building additional bus shelters. These will all be provided to the board and in full on the board minutes.
Thank you. Next, we are going to go to committee reports. Brent, I know I talked with Emily before she left on her time away about holding a board governance report on April 7th around 8 a.m. for those members. So if you could send out a meeting invitation to that, I know she was available for that. I checked with her first, but I think we just wanted to have a general follow-up on the board retreat. If there are any additional items we want to collectively discuss further with management and any miscellaneous items. So if we could get that on there, that would be great. Do we have any other committee reports? Ms. Mayor.
Yep. For the Civilian Oversight Committee, I would like to inform you that after 2.5 years of exemplary service to the Civilian Oversight Committee, Ms. Elise Oval Esquire has resigned from the COC. We all thank her for her service, and the position will be opened on the COC website for new COC applicants. And this is a reminder that this brings us to 2 open positions on the committee now. Thank you.
Thank you. We have other committee reports.
I'll just briefly talk a little bit about the expanded bus service. We know that Barron's and Greyhound left downtown for Brook Park, and the board, we had an opportunity to do a site visit earlier this month, which was really beneficial to see all the great work happening there. So, and we got some good media around that as well. So, thank you.
Yeah. Good news story for sure. Do we have any ad hoc committee reports? Anything under compensation or nominating?
Not for this portion of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have introduction of new employees and announcements of promotions. Ida Marshall, I think, is in the audience somewhere. Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition. Good morning.
Congratulations, Board President. And then also, good morning, India Birdsong Terry and the entire board. It is my pleasure to announce our March 2026 new hires, or their essential hires for keeping our city safe as well as keeping the city moving. We'll start out with our part-time bus operators. And we have Sinesha Harris, Julius Petro, Michael Giles, Danielle Sockwell, Ambrosia Montgomery, Lindsay Curry, Davion Denson, Zaria Sanders, and Tamisha King. We also have Acacia Truitt, and then we're going to go into our rail section for part-time is Dayon Sharpley, Malik Nickerson, William Holly, Deshaun Wade, Cordell Bruton, Jessica King, Lamar Grant, and Cortessa Miller. Keeping those buses and those rail cars safe are Wendy Armenio, body mechanic, as well as Brandon Vander Mullen, body mechanic. We'll say congratulations to the two promotions for March, and that's Eric Holme, Resident Engineer Architect 1, and Tammy Donahue, Transit Police Dispatcher. That will conclude.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next, we have resolutions, 2026-16.
Authorizing contract number 2025-137 with Insurance Information Exchange, a subsidiary of Verisk Analytics, Inc., for driver's license check services in an amount not to exceed $170,670 for a 3-year period, and in amounts not to exceed $56,890 for each of 2 option years, for a total contract amount not to exceed $284,450 for 5 years. General Fund, Safety Department budget.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion and a second on that resolution?
So moved, Mayor Weiss.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution passes. 2026-17.
Authorizing contract number 2025-125 with Ohio Business Machines, LLC, to provide multifunctional devices with 1 year of maintenance and support, and print management software with 5 years of maintenance and support in an amount not to exceed $366,107. General Fund and RTA Development Fund, Information Technology Department budgets.
Thank you very much for that. Do I have a motion and a second for Resolution 17?
So moved, McPherson.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution passes as well. 2026-18.
Authorizing contract number 2026-14 with Harsco Rail, LLC, to provide ProTran technology ranging right-of-way safety equipment in a total amount not to exceed $516,532.50. RTA Development Fund, Power and Way Department budget.
Thank you for that. Again, a motion and a second, please.
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, McPherson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 18 passes. 2026-19.
Authorizing an increase to contract 2021-070 with Direct Energy Business Marketing, LLC, doing business as Direct Energy Business, to provide additional natural gas supply requirements in an amount not to exceed $3 million for a total contract amount not to exceed $12 million. General Fund, Office of Management and Budget Department budget.
Thank you. You've heard that resolution as well. A motion and a second.
Just a comment.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know I was not present for the committee discussion, but just as a comment, I would just say, given the increasing price volatility of natural gas and the LNG export market, the war, and maybe more variability to come, I would just say, can encourage the agency and authority to not rest on its laurels relative to CNG and continue to think about fleet and future planning around whether that's electric, hydrogen, whatever the options may be, but just keep those efforts in motion, even if it's longer term. But I don't think we're going to see a stabilizing CNG market. So thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. Motion and a second, please.
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Elder.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 19 passes. 2026-20.
Authorizing contract number 2025-165 with SLE Technologies, Inc. for Hayden Garage lift replacement, Phase 2, in an amount not to exceed $1,470,630.83. RTA Development Fund, Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
Thank you for that, Brett. A motion and a second on Resolution 20.
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Love.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. And finally, 2026-21.
Authorizing the General Manager, Chief Executive Officer to appoint an underwriting syndicate and to execute contracts with members of the underwriting syndicate at a rate not to exceed $3.25 per $1,000 of debt issuance for a period of 5 years, payable from the proceeds of the debt issue.
Thank you so much. And Raj, I understand from our conversation, this is just a renewal of what we've always had in place.
Mayor Kumar, this is Raj Khatam for those online. You're absolutely correct. We historically maintain relationships with the team that make up the underwriting syndicate. The last agreement expired in 2025, so this is indeed a renewal.
Thank you for that. I'll make a motion to approve that. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayor Weiss.
All in favor?
Mr. President, we'll need a roll call, please.
Roll call it is.
Thank you.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Elder, Mayor Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum.
Recuse.
Motion carries.
All right. Next, we have the Secretary Treasurer's Report from Raj Gotham, Deputy GM for Finance.
Mayor Kumar, members of the board, good morning once again. This is Raj Gautam, the Deputy General Manager of Finance, as well as the Board Secretary Treasurer, here to review February data. At the last FOMC meeting, which concluded on March 18th, the FOMC maintained the interest rates at 3.75%. The annual inflation rate, we all remember, in June 2022 hit a high of about 9.1%, hit a low of 2.3%. February CPI was 2.4%. We've started reviewing consumer confidence, which is a survey of consumers conducted by the University of Michigan. Consumer sentiment showed a slight increase in February, 0.4%. Consumer sentiment month-over-month change was 1.9%, or rather a decrease of 1.9%. Year-over-year showed a 2.6% decline. Current economic conditions month-over-month showed a 2.1% increase. Year-over-year, 9.4% decline. Consumer expectations month-over-month, 4.4% decrease. Year-over-year, a 2.9% increase. Now, the thing to note over here is that the surveys that were completed prior to the military action in the Middle East showed an improvement from the previous month, but those completed afterwards have decreased. We'll continue monitoring and reporting that as we go forward. Quick review of ridership through February 2026. Highlight the fact on the right-hand side, compared to pre-COVID levels, we are 1.5 million rides lower, or roughly 30%. In February 2026, we had 1.8 million in ridership. It was 3.7% lower when compared to 2025. Ties in our region largely to the weather that we were experiencing around that time. But we, as I stated earlier, will continue monitoring this and reporting it on an ongoing basis.
Raj, just one question on that slide. You said ridership year-to-date is down. What was the number?
3.7%.
How many riders?
So the ridership numbers were 1.8 million. I cannot do the math quickly enough to respond.
Okay. And then again, is that bus or rail?
Decrease, light rail was up through February, excuse me. Heavy rail was down 22.6%, and that was the largest decrease.
Bus?
Bus, 5% decrease. Other modes, Healthline was 4.7% lower. Paratransit, 5.6% higher.
Okay, and heavy rail would be red line.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Looking at the passenger fares, once again, I'm going to state that since these numbers are being reported to you on a cash basis, there's always the issue of timing differences. Compared to pre-COVID levels, we're down 1.1 million or 37%. When you compare month February to February 2025, it's 6.6% lower, 2.4% on a year-to-date basis. And once again, it's largely a result of timing difference. If you'll remember that in 2025-2026 school year, we renegotiated the contract and obtained and agreed to a 90% lump sum payment upfront that came in fall of 2025. In the previous year, they were making monthly payments. Eventually, we will catch up, but January and February is lower because of the fact that we didn't have that monthly payment that CMSD was making last year. Questions before I move on to the next one?
Quick question, Raj.
Yes, ma'am.
When is that payment expected to roll in?
The 90%?
Yeah.
The 90% was already received in fall 2025.
Okay, so the catch-up that you're...
So the catch-up, the way the agreement was structured was we will true up as the school year comes to an end.
Okay.
Sales and use tax, we have March receipts, which were 0.3% higher when compared to March 2025. On a year-to-date basis, we are 7.5% higher. Categories, when you compare on a year-to-date basis, excuse me, online sales show a healthy increase of 17.4%. Motor vehicles and watercraft, 3.5% higher. And regular and statewide sales, 6.49% higher. As has been the norm, selected data gleaned from the monthly package that you have in your possession. Excuse me. In your monthly package, total long-term debt outstanding at the end of December 2025, 13.9 million. Average yield, 3.6%. Total cash and investments of 343.6 million, of which 28.7 is in unrestricted or the general fund, meeting the 1-month operating reserve. Thank you. With that, I'll entertain any questions, hopefully that none that require long answers right now.
You and I have the same affliction, right? I do have one question, if that's okay. And this is really just for clarification, but with all of the, you mentioned the school payment, with the closures forecasted for the upcoming year, has that indicated any impact on the funding that we may receive on a historical annual basis from CMSD?
For the next school year? We have not begun the discussions with CMSD officials that looking at John Taher, my partner in these negotiations. John, when are we scheduled to start discussions with them?
We're scheduled to start discussion with CMSD tomorrow. Even though the schools change, they're typically on the number of students hasn't changed significantly over the last couple of years, so we'll find out more tomorrow, but it's typically on the number of students in the high schools.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And the reason that I'm kind of teasing some of this up is, and you heard some of the board members ask for a future state, almost kind of outlook on the finances. I think these kind of topics are an important piece of that. And so internally, I would like to just kind of continue that forecasting with the financial department, but also thinking about things like education, because they have a significant impact on some of the tried and true historical ridership that we've got, whether it's UPass programs, whether it's discontinuation. We had that blip last year with CSU, for example. There's a lot of changes as far as finances around the city and around the county. Everyone is staring down the barrel of different financial situations, and they adversely impact each other, whether it's by design or not. And so I do think we should include that line item of education, however that looks, whether it's CMSD or collegiate, in our forecasting as to how we look within the next 5 years, for example. So I just wanted to mention that and put that out there.
Absolutely, we can take care of that. And just as an FYI, we are beginning, I think most of the other colleges and universities are under agreements that do not expire in the very near future. CSU and CMSD that are coming for expiration, we are engaged, and we'll be starting negotiations, and we can certainly provide more information as it becomes available. Thank you.
Just as a side note,
yes, sir.
This is John Taher again. Just the CMSD, they're the ones that requested payment. They wanted to make their payment up front. We wanted it too, but they stressed that they preferred making that lump sum 90% payment up front.
I have a follow-up question, and General Manager Burt-Sonterry must have been reading my mind, because I have the same exact question with respect to passenger fare and ridership, just in light of the anticipated 3% reduction in service, if we have forecasted, the impact in those two areas in the upcoming few months.
So I appreciate that. It's always a good sign when your board members have the same comment or question that you do. Also, and again, not to belabor the conversation, just want to put this out here as a little bit of a teaser. We will also be coming to you with fare capping information. This is a little bit of a different aside, so in case anyone else had that thought, we will be presenting that to you within the next couple months. Our anticipated rollout is this summer. And we've been talking about that for quite some time. That's a split baby in a certain way. You could look at that because in a way where ridership may improve because folks have more equitable opportunity to ride the service as far as it comes for how much they're going to be paying on a monthly basis. And then you could look at it where our revenues may decrease depending on how much they save. So I think we have to be able to sort of look at that as a double-sided coin, but there's a responsibility to make sure that our customers are getting fair and equal treatment financially when they take our service. We usually hear from mid to low income riders, which should have the same opportunities as mid to high income riders. So we want to make sure that we made good on our promise to be able to roll that project out. It is a technology improvement as well, but there are some financial repercussions to that. And this is a constant ebb and flow in the revenue and ridership category. Those are two areas that we are absolutely laser focused on, but there's always an ebb and flow to it. So I just wanted to mention that, but we'll be coming to you with more information. That's all included in the financial forecast. This is a moving train. It is a moving bus, and things change. So we just wanted to make sure to advise you of that. We will have our best review of that forecast to you, but understand that things will be adjusted as we move along. But we have to be able to incorporate all of those analyses, and we'll make sure to do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you.
Next, we have the General Manager's report.
All right. Good morning again. India Birdsong-Terry, General Manager and CEO. I would like to be able to give you a little bit of an update. I always say this on the last 30 days or so since I last presented to you, and then we have a video that we will show you for a little bit of entertainment toward the end of my presentation. We always like to start with a financial improvement, if you could look at it this way, through grants. For this particular one, we appreciate NOACA. We also appreciate the interest in air quality. So Trustee Love, you mentioned the sustainability efforts. This is a good example of that. This is project funding announcement for the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Program. We know it by CMAQ as the acronym, and this is Funds that are awarded to establish either new or expanded transportation projects really focused on the idea of reducing emissions. So again, sustainability efforts, congestion relief, and transit vehicle replacements, or either engine replacements and that kind of work. So you'll see it outlined, split between 2 years, 2028 and 2029. You will see it totaling just over or just under 17 million. If you look at it, depends on which way you look at it. We always look at it glass half full. So we'll say under 17 million between those 2 years. And we are very much appreciated, again, of the interest and the support of our fleet to make sure that we can provide services to you in the most equitable and sustainably forward manner that we can, given the current circumstances of our nation. Also, with financials in mind, you will notice on the last bullet for this slide, we have received the Government Finance Officers Association Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the past 38 years. That is a tremendous accomplishment, so congratulations to our Finance Division. This really speaks to the financial acumen of our team, nickel and diming in a good way to make sure that we are good stewards of our money and our public dollars. So again, just bringing this to your attention, this is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting. So again, we appreciate it. We understand a lot of times that what we bring to you are difficult decisions. There are always 2 and 3 ways to skin a cat, so to speak, but we try to make sure that we're making decisions that are in the best interest of our customers and, of course, of our internal employees and our RTA family as well. So this award really embodies that achievement. So congratulations again. All right. We are always conversing with our federal partners. And you probably remember me kind of alluding to, we've talked with the FTA about one thing or the other. This is really just an administrative update. We are dogged about making sure that we have a quarterly touch point with our federal partners in the Chicago office, which is the Region 5, which is what we fall under. We also, of course, work with everyone in DC and also the state capitol here in Columbus, but we make sure that we touch point with our federal partners for the regional office on a minimum of a quarterly basis. We talk very frequently within that time frame, but some of the key topics included were the rail car replacement program. And again, this is so that you understand that we are talking with them every step of the way, so that what we bring in front of you has already been reviewed and vetted at the federal level. So to ease your decision making at the resolution process, a lot of folks have looked at it before it comes to you. And then also tariff impacts on managing costs. This is something that is a moving target. We are at the mercy of what happens in Washington, D.C., and so we want to make sure that those projects move forward in a manner that does not compromise what we've always promised to you as the riding public. That rail car replacement program is moving forward as planned, even withstanding the tariff potential. I say potential because, again, that is adjusting as we get new information coming out of the White House. But that is moving forward, and we're making sure that we're able to produce that product in form of new rail cars to you, regardless of what tariffs may produce. Metro Health BRT, otherwise known as the West 25th Metro Health BRT. This is also moving along as planned. We are still awaiting financial funding consideration from the federal government. They do have all of our submitted paperwork. We have been in very good standing with our federal partners on this. Again, we want to make sure that we have those conversations at the federal level as well as the local level to make sure that we're not missing anything. And we continue to also, may I note, work with the city of Cleveland to make sure that we can also add on to this project to make sure that our stakeholders are inclusive in the process and they're also getting their due diligence when it comes to making sure that we can augment the program and have add-ons for quality of life within the corridor. We're super excited about it, and we'll continue to give you updates as they become available. Also, the 2026 triennial review comes up very fast, and this is a 3-year audit that is spearheaded throughout the entire agency, and we're preparing for that as well. All right, budget is the theme of the day. So WTS, known also as Women Transportation Seminar, now WTS,
had a panel, and you'll see Mike Shipper, he's the second from the left there, I believe with a microphone, which is apropos to be able to be able to talk about budget and forecasting and how it impacts our bottom line here in Northeast Ohio. And then on the very end on the right, you'll see Grace Gallucci. She is the executive director of NOACA, and they're our local MPO that really disperses a lot of the grant funding that you see coming in front of you on a quarterly basis. Also to the left of Mike is David Slatzer. I don't want to mispronounce his name there, Mike. I hope I got it right, with ODOT. And then Chris Mata, which is with Ohio Turnpike Commission, OTC. So they really were able to talk about long-range planning and fiscal forecasting. Fiscal forecasting, tongue twister there. We appreciate Mike as aware in this room. Mike has an integral part in a lot of our capital grant processes. So we appreciate his participation in that. And also shout out to Carolyn Young that has been really helping us through that process from the financial side, and Mary Flannery, who helps us through a lot of those grant applications as well. All right, Ohio Loves Transit. We'll start with Mike again on the left. We'll have Ohio State Rep. You might notice her in the photo in the middle there, Bride Rose Sweeney. She is a staunch advocate for RTA in DC, and we appreciate her. Consistently has been really supportive of a lot of the innovation that we're trying to put forth. And also her father, we'll just give him a shout out as well. Mr. Sweeney, we'll say, on the county side for council. We also have Natoya Walker Minor and then Jose Feliciano of our External Affairs. All of them did travel to Columbus, Ohio. We do this very consistently, again, to be able to educate our legislative partners on some of the investments that are going on, budgetary and otherwise, to make sure that we're checking the pulse point of their interests as well as ours. And this was a great meeting. All right, this was mentioned, I think Ms. McPherson mentioned this as far as the Board of Trustees tour. We're trying to make sure that we get you guys out from behind the dais a little bit more and listen to you when you say, hey, we need to see it. And this was a great opportunity to be able to do that. As you can see from the photo, and let me say there were a lot of other people that were involved in this tour, but we had to choose a couple of photos that really highlighted the board, and that's a group photo there of some of you that were there to be able to really understand what Brook Park has as far as potential for real estate. Some of those highlights, again, were the Barron's Bus Terminal, which was packed when we were there, so we can imagine they're going to be looking at another one at some point. And then the 155 building, as we call it, which is the Facilities Maintenance and Transit Police building that has been under rehabilitation for quite a while. And then, of course, the yard, as we call it, for the rail shop, and then the station that's already there, and the Browns' proposed stadium site, so we can get an idea. And that's when you see folks looking in the bottom photo there, braving the wind and weather, so we appreciate your participation in that. All right, Accelerate. I'll be quick on this one. I was a judge for this. This is something I do every year, probably about the last 3 or 4 years, to be able to support talent and innovation. Trustee Love, this is your show today, I think. Climate and Energy Innovation was the title of the category that I served on, along with some other folks from the City of Cleveland, Rust Belt Riders, and NOPEC, I believe, were my partners. So it was really great to be able to think about how we can be more sustainable as a community, and had some really great pitches from students as well as adults. So appreciate that, and making sure that RTA always has a hand in supporting innovation in the city. APTA AdWheel Award. I will not play the video today, but I encourage you to look on YouTube and just literally type in APTA AdWheel GCRTA. This is our ERG, our Employee Resource Group, in combination with our marketing department. We have been at this for a while. This is American Public Transportation Association. APTA has an ad wheel, which is a marketing kind of Emmy or Grammy, if you think about it that way, or it's the Oscars for the marketing department. Does that make sense? And every year, this is really the best of the best, and we were selected for the work of our ERG, the Veterans ERG, to really talk about the military service and support of our country through those that work for RTA. We have a large contingent of paramilitary in RTA. This is something that's typical within transportation at large, and we chose to highlight their contribution not only to serving us, but also to serving you as citizens and United States citizens. We really appreciate their work. So congratulations. I think we have a couple of representatives from that ERG. Oh, come on up. So really quickly, if someone could hand you a mic, I always like to, you knew that was coming. Thank you, Raj. You are Vanna today. And also we have the marketing department. I believe Allison worked on that one, as well as Christy somewhere. Thank you. Oh, and Ishmael as our ERG kind of liaisons. If you guys wanted to just have a quick comment, go right ahead.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Gerald Mason. I work at Hayden. Oh, sorry. I work at Hayden Garage as the facility maintenance manager. I've been a part of this ERG since the beginning. What I can say is, as one who has deployed over the years and having the type of support that I have with our executives and with Doc and all these, having this ERG is really important because it also helps us communicate what we do, kind of like humanizing it. So we as service members, when we go back into our positions or whatever in our communities back in wherever workspace we work in, it's easier for us to communicate as military members. But when you have an ERG, we have also allies, and so this helps with the greater engagement of a community within RTA, right? So, and when we have events, we get a lot of questions and answers, and people are really engaged. And hey, you guys, we actually have military members here, and then all that. So we, at that time, we can share our stories, and I think it's a good thing, and it's growing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Allison Dykes, Visual Communication Specialist here, and I produced the video that you would see. It's always such an honor to highlight and show our appreciation to these veterans. So being able to work on something that kind of spotlights that is just always incredible. And I'm so grateful for their service, both in the military and within GCRTA. And it was birthed from Christine. I'm sure she could tell you more.
Thank you. I think it's important to honor those who have served our country, and we have an ERG that has embraced some of the visions I've had on being able to honor them, and I enjoy supporting them and being an ally to the department, or to the ERG, I should say. Overall, I think the video was well produced. I want to thank Allison for taking my vision and actually making it come to life, and then the ERG for supporting that and embracing what I had planned.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ishmael Flores. I am the manager of all the ERGs. I do support the veterans as much. I do have family members in the force, so I thank them. I thank internal and external veterans. So thank you very much. Thank you for the marketing team for producing this, and let's continue doing wonderful work.
Thank you. Appreciate you all. I'm looking at. We appreciate you all, and thank you for your service again. I'm going to ask Brent if you could grab the link maybe from Bob and distribute that to the board members separately via email. That would be great. Thank you. All right, so the annual Board of Trustees retreat, you all were there. You know what happened. We appreciate you for that. This is an annual retreat. Did a lot of conversation, had a lot of conversation on a lot of topics. Emotionally intelligent teams is the theme of the year. We will also be embarking upon our executive leadership retreat in about another week or so, and we have the same thing. That way, because we're, again, making difficult conversations, difficult decisions, and we want to make sure that we also have an awareness of our well-being, not just physically, but mentally as we work through these processes. We're responsible for the well-being of a lot of people through ridership, so we want to make sure that we keep that in mind. And then, of course, the strategic plan, as we've talked about, we're in the refresh process mode, and we'll come back to you with more information on that soon. St. Patty's Day. This is typically one of our largest ridership days of the year. As you recall, we had a snowstorm this year. So it took a little bit of a nosedive regarding the ridership, but we still had a lot of folks out there. We're calculating the information as far as data on that. We'll make sure to send that to you also separately. Joel Freilich is our guru for ridership compilation and has indicated that it will be available within 2 weeks. We want to make sure we get you the actual numbers. We don't want to give you an estimate on anything. But we do have the details for the logistics. And you'll see it there. I won't go through it verbatim. But we did start and stop on time with no transit issues, which is always a great thing. Everyone is safe, happy, warm as they could be with no issues for incidents. So we appreciate that, and that's always a tough effort. Our operations team did a great job. So Dr. Caver and team, we appreciate you guys and all the volunteers that came out in their green and braved the weather. All right, I believe before we go to the next one, I am going to ask Mary Delgado, who's helping us through the back. You'll see a YouTube for a moment. You have an annual report booklet at the dais there, and this is our annual report digitized. This is in compilation with AdCom, our new marketing team, third party. Hello, I'm India Birdsong Terry, and I invite you to look through the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority 2025 Annual Report to get an understanding of the initiatives we focused on last year. We know that safe public transit is essential infrastructure for growth, and we're happy to shine a light on the strides we've made last year in moving Cleveland forward. Connecting community members to jobs, healthcare, education, and entertainment is what drives us each and every day of the year. Our work reflects a clear commitment to providing reliability, access, and affordability to the people we serve in Greater Cleveland. In 2025, that meant initiatives such as modernizing vehicles and stations, coordinating services for special events, and promoting the strengths of our workforce to ensure the future of safe, consistent service. As good stewards of public resources, we believe it's our job to advocate for continued public transit support, maximize external funding, and prepare our annual budget documentation to the highest standards. As the largest public transit agency in the state of Ohio, we make sure the Greater Cleveland region has a voice in statewide decisions that shape the future of public transit. As we prepare for the potential advances ahead for our city, we value the trust placed in us by the community that we serve. That's transparency in motion. Well, we appreciate everybody's work on that, and shout out again to our new third-party marketing partners, AdCom, and then again to Natoya's group and the Marketing and External Affairs Division. We will pump this out into the community, into our legislative partners, as well as through the hard copy as well. So I am happy to take any questions. Otherwise, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No report under the president other than we'll be scheduling that board governance meeting. Any old or new business? If not, executive session is requested. I'd like to make a motion to consider the. You want to just do this under compensation? I just invited him in to make it easier, or you want to do it separately?
Let's do separately.
Okay, we'll do it separate for Mayor Weiss. I'd like to make a motion to consider executive session to consider the employment, evaluation, and compensation of an employee or official. Do I have a second on that?
Second, Sleesman.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mr. President, excuse me. Was the board meeting adjourned?
We went directly.
No,
into
we're going to do
executive
an
session.
executive session as part of this meeting.
You mean the compensation committee?
No, this is just a separate executive session.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you
Mayor
get?
Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson, Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum,
Yes.
motion carries.
India, I think we're going to use the conference room here.
Let me double check. George, I believe we're upstairs, or are you going to this room?
We're
going to go to the caucus
Caucus,
room for this
okay.
and then upstairs after.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So the trustees will adjourn in here. I think we just need the trustees at this point, correct, Mayor?
Just the trustees and George and India for a moment.
Okay. Great.
I should announce that there's no intended action at the conclusion of the executive session.
So we will come out of this and adjourn the regular meeting, and then we'll go into the compensation meeting, executive session, right? Or not?
Yeah, the comp committee is separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kumar, Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mayor Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson, Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss, Ms. Wiggum. Motion carries.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now we gotta. Yeah.
No, I'm not in there yet, right? Com committee? I am? Oh, okay, okay.